On this week's episode of the RAG podcast, it was a very special episode. It was part 2 with Lloyd Gordon. Lloyd was on season 1 of the RAG. I think he was in the first few episodes. He's the CEO and founder of a recruitment agency called Focus Cloud, who specialize in Workday, HR, and financials recruitment. They're a business now of just under 30 people across London and Gatwick. And in the first season, we spoke for an hour and we didn't even get on really to what Focus Cloud was all about and how he's built the brand. So we agreed back then, this was February this year, that we were going to have a part 2. Part 2 took so many different ways. This was probably one of my favorite episodes, one of the most different episodes, because we did talk about the classic recruitment growth, but we went into all sorts, from Lloyd's faith to how he really got through year 1 and some of the massive sacrifices and what he felt like. But also what this episode really taught me was how building a recruitment company can enable change for people, a positive change. So Lloyd has made a decision that the growth of his business is going to be about helping other people. So they're donating and supporting others with the funds that they generate. And he's got some real amazing stories as to how he's actually doing that. So one for people to listen to and think this is different, but he's been super open, super honest, and you know what, the guy's he's a big teddy bear, but he's an unbelievable man. So I reckon this will inspire so many people. So as always, without further ado, Mr. Lloyd Gordon, welcome back to the RAG podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me several times.
Well, yeah, you did let me down. We'll talk about that. Yeah. But you came in 9-10 months ago, February now.
Yeah,
Bloody
it was
in the old office?
so much has happened, and I think you know sometimes these things are delayed for a reason.
Yeah, but if you remember why we were doing a part 2, it's because you didn't answer anything I said in the first one. You spent 50 minutes chatting about. To be fair, it was a great story about the pre-work of even getting near Focus Cloud, and then at the end of it, I was like, "Fuck, we didn't get into any of you owning the company." Yeah. So we had to do a part 2.
Yeah,
it took a while, but you've come to the new office, not the old office.
Yeah,
feels like a lifetime ago.
It's a lot nicer.
Yeah, it is a lot nicer.
You can see where our subscription fees going.
Oh, here he is. Well, yeah. Let's keep that one quiet. But look, great to have you back in. Let's give some of the listeners might not have actually even listened to part 1. So quick overview, who you are. Tell us about what you're up to.
Yeah, so I'm Lloyd Gordon. I'm owner and founder of Focus Cloud. We are a recruitment company that specializes in Workday, HCM, and financials technology globally.
Mm-hmm. So super niche.
Yep.
Really, you are one of the most niche businesses I know in the sector, and I think that's partly why you're doing so well. And I think where we got to last week, we did a little bit about the start, but tell us about how Focus Cloud, not the recruitment career, but specifically Focus. When did you start? How did you start?
So we started in, for those who haven't listened to part 1, so we started very quickly, actually, as a result of my exit from my last business. Yeah. Go back to the part 1 to listen to that. Yeah, it's a long story, right? And we started, and it was tough, and it was a raw startup.
When was it again? Remind me.
September 2015.
Yeah. So we're talking about 4 years, just over 4 years.
4 years. Yeah, more than 4 years ago. We had our fourth year anniversary recently.
How fast has that gone?
As quick as my hair.
You didn't have hair when I met you, so I think you just shaved it off when I met you.
Yeah. It is actually a decision that I decided, right? You know, I can.
How thick is it on top? Is it a bit?
Moving on?
Is it one of them where if the wind blows, you're a bit worried?
No.
Oh.
No. It started after about year 2. It started going a little bit thin here.
Do you think the business contributed to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. My barber, I used to go to a barber. I used to go to a barber every Saturday, and probably his best customer. And after 2 years, he said to me, "Oh, mate, you do realise your hair's going a little bit thin at the front?" And I was like, "I thought you cut it like that." Honestly, I was like, "I thought you cut it like that," because I was very particular about my hairstyle, right?
Well, you thought he shaved you a hairline.
I used to
Are you telling me
use
you thought he created your
every
hell?
morning, right? Every morning I'd get the Dax, the pot of the red Dax.
That was my university
and I would just go
play. Oh,
like that, and then style this hairdo,
Yeah.
right? And it was a pain in the ass because it took me 20 minutes to make sure it was all right.
Gareth
when
Gates.
you're-
Mate,
when
mine
you're
takes
on
about
stage.
30 seconds, mate. Don't worry about mine.
Yeah, all right.
Just natural.
All right. And then after 2 years, he said that, and I was like, then you start noticing it, and you're looking in the mirror, and you're going, no, it's just a light.
Yeah.
But it's not the light.
And it wasn't
because-
like the guy had cut it because it wasn't growing back.
No, it just don't come back. So I was actually in France one day, and I think I forgot my Dax.
Yeah.
So I just shaved it all off.
Fair. With a blade, like razor.
With a razor blade, yeah.
But the thing is, with your colour skin, it looks cool. Like you've got the same colour underneath, right?
My wife.
Because with me, if I shave my head, my skin's pale under my head. So it's like this weird.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. I know, but the point, I've had skinhead shaves when I was younger, and you can never that short, but that you can clearly see the scalp is not like the face, right?
Yeah.
Whereas yours is nice and neat, so it looks cool, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I win from both angles here, right? So it saves me £20 a week on haircuts. My wife has a thing for Dwayne Johnson anyway.
Yeah.
So I get more,
Kudos
action.
points. Yeah.
Like that. I guess she fancies me more, Yeah, and it's kind of worked out well for me, and it's not a pain in the ass in the morning.
Yeah. Well, my wife likes Anthony Joshua, so
Does she?
work that out.
I mean, I can see why
Exactly.
she's with you then.
Spitting image. There's a grey-haired Anthony Joshua apparently lives somewhere else.
If he saw you, he'd say it's like looking in the mirror.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on. I tell you what though, I remember when I started going grey, I was 18, I just got to uni, summer before uni, and I was like, I had this patch that was always blonde growing up. So my hair went jet black when I was in high school, college, really dark, like genuinely black. Because I was blonde as a kid, it went black. Everyone was like, what the fuck's going on with your hair? But then I always had a blonde bit that stayed, right? And then I was like, that blonde bit's growing. I was like, wait. And then I was looking, and I was like, it's not blonde, is it? And then my mum was like, no, it's not. And then all your mates get on your back going, you're going grey. I was like, I'm not. But by the time I got to uni, it was no fucking... I was pulling them out every day, just constantly pulling them out.
Which they come back through. When you pull one strand out...
Well, my ex-girlfriend at uni sat me down one day. We were just chilling watching a DVD, or in the days you watch DVDs. And she had tweezers out, and she was just pulling them out my head. And I didn't think they were that bad, because they were dotted all over. And I looked on her knee, and honestly, there was a pile like so high. And she's like, Sean, I've not even started. So that was like... And then I let it go grey properly. I used to put this stuff in it when I was a recruiter. I had a couple of colleagues always say, your hair's a bit blonde. I was like, oh, it's just natural. Was it? Fuck, there's stuff in it. But yeah, I let it go grey. And
it's your brand now, though, right?
Yeah, it's part of the whole brand.
Your brand.
Hoxo, grey, the lot. Yeah. But look, let's go back into it. So I don't think we ever really got into the nuts and bolts of focus. I remember you told the story about, you told your wife we could lose the house, right? That was, and a lot of people have messaged me about that and said, fuck me. Like, they loved the fact you were honest about it.
Yeah.
But what was that first year like? Because I get most people who listen to this who message me are either in year one or going into year one next year. Like, they're thinking about it. And I reckon January 2020, we got a shitload of people entering the market. What can they expect?
Yeah. So first of all, you got to make sure you got a really strong foundation, family. If you've got a girlfriend, wife, whatever, you have to be honest with that person, and you've got to decide what you're willing to lose, right? And they always say like plan B and plan A, right? I had plan A, and that was it. And I didn't have plan B because plan B was bankruptcy.
Go back to a
bankruptcy. Living in a, not that there's anything wrong with a council house, but just, from what we've managed to build to having it all on the line. And also there was something else that I said in the part one. I was willing to lose my life. Absolutely.
You did say that. You were willing to die.
I genuinely meant that. And I genuinely mean that now. When I went into this, it was like, I said to my wife, this business is going to be successful or I'll be dead. And there's been many a times when, I've got the same setup. You've seen the setup in the Focus offices now.
Yeah.
Offices.
Looks great, yeah.
Takes time, don't worry. We've got a really cool setup, and, at home I have the same setup. And there's been times when, You know,
You've got 35 guys at home sat in tables picking up the phone.
No. So
I know what you mean.
I'll talk about my own setup, right? So my own setup is, you know, I've actually got 4 screens at home, whereas normally in the offices we've got 3 screens.
Yeah.
Just had to go that one extra. I don't know why. No one sees it. And there's been times when, you know, I've been sitting there on a weekend because the work day is your work day, right? And you know my work day is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But then you would have thought that over the weekend, perhaps you might take a rest. Well, there's been times, especially in the first year, you know, where, you know, come home from work on a Friday night, let's say 6:30, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock, straight on the PC after some dinner, perhaps, or you're eating whilst you're on the PC. This is the first year. This is what you can expect. And there's been times when I've still been sitting at that same table, looking at that same screen, doing my stuff, you know.
What are you actually doing? Just searching LinkedIn
on Sunday morning.
You're just searching LinkedIn all the time? Because you can't be chatting to people at that time. No one wants
I don't.
What, you're ringing people at 9 o'clock on a Friday night?
I don't.
But I suppose,
personally,
how many of your candidates are in the UK when you do that?
If you are engaging with Focus Cloud, these are our core values, right? And one of our core values is 24/7. So, yeah, I'm not going to call you at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm just not going to do that. But I will call you at 9:30 at night, of course.
On a Friday?
Or, yeah. You know, you can say I'm busy with my family. Can you call me tomorrow? That's fine. I'll call you on a Saturday or a Sunday. But there's been times when, you know, I've been sitting there and, you know, on a Friday night, and literally you go from being tired and you work through being tired, and you almost work yourself out of being tired, and you're still there on Sunday morning. And, you know, your missus, she used to walk in and go, "You're going to kill yourself." And I'm like, yep, because I told you that this business is going to be successful or I'll be dead.
Yeah.
Really fine line with that.
I don't think there's many people even in year 1 who work to the level you've worked though.
Probably not. Do you know what I mean? And there's some unfortunate people who've had some accidents, health accidents and stuff doing, you know, that or close to that. You know, so I'm really fortunate, which brings me on to some of the things that's been happening in the last few weeks that we'll talk about later, probably.
But that year 1, right, you're going through, you're working your nuts off effectively. How many people did you hire in year 1 again?
Don't know. Probably 6, I guess.
And how much? And what did you guys bill? NFI, GP?
We didn't hire until probably month 6. Our first piece of revenue came in on month 4.
Yeah.
That was when the overdraft was taken.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And it was 19,000 blah 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 overdrawn, and we had a 20 grand overdraft, and Barclays took away. Bless them, Barclays. I love Barclays now, and they love me now, but they didn't at the time, obviously. And they took away the overdraft, and if it wasn't for our first client paying on that same day, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So it was really.
But in the end, how much did you bill year 1? Do you remember?
1.2 gross.
In year 1?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's not turnover, that's GP.
That's gross profit.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much of that did you do?
Almost all of it.
Yeah. So that's the sort of, doesn't matter if it's year 1, to get to 1.2 on your own, you've got to be going insane numbers.
Yeah.
And insane hours.
Yeah, insane hours. Just, you know where people go, mate, there's something wrong with you. Do you know what I mean? This is not normal. And I always think that if you're going to do something like a business or whatever it is, you've got to work so hard that people think there is something wrong with you. Because if you're not, then you can push yourself and you can push your body more than you're actually pushing it. So many businesses fail, right? And you know, we're not out of the woods. We're year 4. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying we are, but so many.
Yeah, but you
businesses
now know
fail
that even if it got down to just you're all right.
You just haven't worked hard enough. That's it. You know, and then they go, "Oh, the market, this or this happened or whatever," and blame. No responsibility, and it's just because you didn't work hard enough. You know, you liked sleeping more than you wanted to make your business work. So
what went through your head in that year? I don't want to go into detail of every month of the year in terms of billings and all, but you billed a lot, you worked a lot, you hired 6 people. But what went through your mind What was going on in the Lloyd Gordon head that got you to that point? And what worried you a bit? What was the biggest pressure in year one?
So a lot had happened before Focus was set up, and you know a bit about that story. In part one, we'll give you that as well. And I, as I've been preparing for this podcast, I've been thinking about stuff, because there's stuff that wasn't said in part one that perhaps we'll get an opportunity to talk about in part two. But the one thing that sticks in my mind about my exit, which actually I thank that person for now, beyond belief, but I didn't at the time, was part of the reason why I wanted to set my own business up is because I believed that I could do it better myself. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Not in a derogatory way towards that person or my ex-boss, it was because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And when you're told, I don't think you can do it. And I was told, I don't think you can do that. That kind of drives you as well to prove, really, I'm going to show you then. Do you know what I mean? So when you're in year one and you're tired, these things go through your head, or I used it anyway. I used that as fuel, like if you fail, these people are right. And there was other reasons as well, but that was a very small part.
There's a little bit of fear of failure there then?
I think it was fear of disaster. It's not fear of, I don't care if I fail. You learn from failure, right? That's how everyone learns. Yeah. But for me, with Focus, it wasn't fear of failure, because I couldn't just brush myself off and then go and get a job at blah, 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 and everything would be all right. No, it was complete disaster. I'd lost my house, everything I'd had. I'd worked really hard in the years in recruitment, and we'd built, a base. Whatever happened, and I didn't have the money that I should have had. Whatever, but failure for me at that point was complete disaster. Yeah. It was perhaps go and live back with your mum.
Did it really?
And the wife might have to move in. Do you know what I mean? It was all sorts of stuff.
And how did that play in your mind? Was that constant?
It's horrible, mate. It's horrible. It's horrible. And if you are a successful biller, like I was, don't make the mistake that I did, thinking to yourself, it's definitely going to be successful. And it's definitely going to be successful. I'll probably do my first deal in, when I started recruitment, I did my first deal in 2 weeks, right? When I first started in ERP recruitment, which is hard, when you haven't got ERP recruitment experience, I did my first deal in 3 weeks. That don't apply when you start a business, because you have to deal with all the other stuff that comes with running a business. You're getting calls from salespeople going, "Hi, my name's Mike. I'm going to give you this service," and you just want to get on the phone and make money, right? So, especially in my circumstance, where I was like, I am damned if this doesn't work. I really am. And it's just
but that kept you going. In a way, that's probably, to do 1.2 in year one pretty much on your own is pretty incredible, especially when you didn't bill for the first 4 months. So you've done it in 8 months, which is an insane amount. So then how did year two progress? I don't think we ever got to that. What was year two? Because I think before the show you said year 2 and 3 was where it really got serious then.
So going back to year one, and this will kind of lead into some of the stuff I want to say in this episode as well. How I felt in year one. Every morning, I used to sit on my toilet and I used to pray to God. I'm a Christian, right? So I used to pray to God, and tears used to run down my face, and I used to pray to God, please help me that this works. And that's how I got through it, because I trust in God. And I just thought to myself, even at the time where it was, we had 300 quid. We had 300 quid in the bank, like from the overdraft. And then they took the damn thing away, and I still trusted in God, because I knew that we almost had this commitment to each other that I made a promise with God at the start. I said that please help me make this business successful, and I promise you I will help people with the success of this business. That's what I promised.
Yeah.
So I knew I had that promise throughout the whole way. So it didn't matter how bad it got, but I also knew there had to be action with it.
Yeah.
Because just because you go, oh, please God, please do this for me, and you know, it's not like, okay, you're gonna have that. You don't.
No.
You have to act.
But it gives you that feeling of commitment as well, doesn't it?
It gave me that almost 100% confirmation that this business would work. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's strange when you when you have that relationship, I guess, you know, where you trust, you just trust in God, and you just know, don't you? Because if you've got that relationship, you don't get lied to, right? You don't get lied to, and if that's how you move, that's how I moved my business forward in the first year. Anyway, that's my story. Right?
I love it. I mean, I was brought up in Catholic schools and Irish family, but I'm not a practicing Catholic. I can't say I've got JJ, strict Muslim. I understand. I've listened to a lot about the Islamic faith from him, and I respect it. I really respect it, and I respect what you're saying. I can't say I can necessarily empathize because I've never sat there and thought about God and done any of that stuff. But how is it then? How has that moved on? How has that moved the needle into year 2 and 3?
So year two and 3, I think, you know, year 1, we got year 1 out of the way. We you know, I personally paid off some debts and things like that I racked up in the startup of Focus. And year 2, we're kind of moving into our nicer offices or nicer furniture, let's say. We're hiring people, and I made once there was money in the bank, I kind of thought to myself, this is going to work. Or it's a wonderful transition you go through to thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go bankrupt. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. As confident as you are, or confident as I am, it's still, there's always that little thing in the back of your mind that, oh man,
I know that feeling.
Oh man, what if this is not supposed to be? Do you know what I mean? And you just can't.
I started Hoxton Media with 75 grand in the bank that I'd saved from recruitment, right? Bought my property, saved. And then middle of this year, I had 0. So I didn't pay myself for the first 10 months, and then paid very modestly, but I still had things to do and still tried to balance everything, and you just start chipping away. Then I got married and had to put money into a new property, and then you're starting to think, fuck, same thing. You're starting to really, really start to concern yourself, because having a little cushion took away a bit of the stress, I think, for me. But that being away, and even now it's still gone. Like it gives you that extra
but it comes
push.
Back.
Yeah.
It comes back, and that's the great thing about when you work through a business. But I don't think Focus has ever been about making the money.
No.
You know, for us, we have targets to meet and stuff like that, but it's not about making the money. I don't care about the net profit, and I don't care. I just, you know, truth be told, I want this business to help people, right? That was my commitment. And I believe, certainly in the last, you know, there's things that we've done as a business that nobody knows about, that we've done that. And even more so in the last couple of weeks. You know,
before we go into it, how big is the business now? Where are we at?
So we're 27 staff, and I would say that's stable staff.
Yeah.
So we went through that thing of every recruitment company in the first year, certainly in the second year. You know, I tried to grow too quick.
Yeah.
We had some money in the bank. Year 2, I'm thinking, okay, let's really go for it. Let's go all guns blazing. And the way I'd interview at the time, and I think back, it makes me laugh. Someone would come through the door with recruitment experience, and I'd go, okay, you've got 2 eyes, two arms, okay, and you've got recruitment experience, you're hired.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably a very common mistake made by recruitment owners. We just didn't do our diligence, quite frankly.
You do it for your clients, not for yourself.
Yeah,
You do it really fucking well.
You do all the diligence and everything like that, and you make sure the I's are across the I's across the T's.
Oh, the I's are dotted,
whatever you want to say. No,
but you make sure you are 100% putting your name to that candidate to say, I believe you'll get the job. Blah, blah, blah. But yet, when it's yours, you look at it like it's. And actually, this is your money you're spending, not money you're making.
I was hiring people in year 2, going, "We'll give that person a go."
It's the wrong line.
Do you know what I mean? I'm going to give that person a go. So I'm going to invest 10 grand in that person on something I don't know whether it's going to work. Whereas, how we hire now is a lot different.
So how have you changed that?
Well, I think this is a lot to do with, I'm going to plug you now, right? So this doesn't mean you could put our prices up, by the way. So year 1, you're just trying to survive, right? And year 2, you've come out of year 1, which is great. Many businesses don't. And you're trying to grow. I tried to grow too quickly. I was lucky with some of the people. Some of the people are still with the business. In fact, some of the people from the hiring of year 1 are still with the business, and they're fantastic people. But a lot of them didn't make it, right? So I've totally lost our train of thought.
So how did you hire people?
We changed it.
That's it.
So the truth is, in year 2 and probably a little bit of year 3, we didn't even know what we was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd get someone come through the door who had recruitment experience, but they didn't have the ethics. They didn't have they didn't really want to work hard. They didn't have what it takes to be at Focus Cloud now.
The why.
And the truth is, we didn't know that either.
No.
So is it their fault that they didn't work at Focus Cloud, or is it mine?
I'd say you're right.
I would say it's mine.
It's you.
Because,
and then we worked on the values and the vision and everything, didn't we? And it's the same thing we've done with ourselves. And like my vision is to globally connect marketing with sales across the recruitment industry. And that's all I care about. And how we do it is how we do it today, and it'll change, it'll evolve. But the why won't change. That's what I know deep down. The why is still the same. It's to connect those two functions. It's to give recruiters like you the brand, the options to win stuff that was never out there by just doing what you always did.
Yeah.
But how is going to change? And it's that with you, we talked about that why, and it was so clear, like the ability to help clients under pressure at any time. It was that kind of complete response mentality, wasn't it? You were like that.
So we were almost there.
Yeah.
We were almost there when we first met Hoxo and you guys done our whole brand redesign, things like that. So we were approaching the point where actually this is what it means to work here, but we didn't really have it nailed. The business has always been to help people, right? So that's obviously in the back of my mind. This business is, we are going to help people with this, and that might be help people get a job. That might be help a client to fill a vacancy. That could be something totally external that we've done, and you feel free to ask me any questions on that. It could be a multitude of things. The track days, we help people to smile. Right? You see
me shit my box as well. Fucking hell. Help me wipe my boxes.
Yeah, that was good. I've got that in the locker when I need it on you.
Keep it in the locker. Keep the locker.
So subconsciously, I've always known what the business is supposed to be and what we're about.
Yeah.
But actually, the external makeup of the business, we were nowhere near until you guys kind of got involved. We knew in ourselves, but we hadn't displayed that.
Yeah, you're not put it out.
So we had core values, for example. Our core value 24/7 honor. All the others, knowledge, results. But what does that actually mean? And then you break that down a bit more in the business, certainly in the recruitment business, and you go, okay, so here are my core values. This is how I need everyone at Focus Cloud to act. And then you've got a recruiter sitting in front of you that you don't think is that. But actually, he or she might be a £500,000 biller, right? But if you don't concur to these core values, you don't get a job at Focus Cloud. No. Whereas in the first
they would have got
the first year 2, year 3, Perhaps not at the end of year 3, which is when you guys got involved. But certainly year 2, it would have been a 10-minute interview.
Yeah.
You know, I would have said, yeah, great, £500,000 biller. And then you plonk this guy there who is responsible for going out to the market in a really niche space, who doesn't want to call candidates back on time. They don't want to perform the best service to your candidates. They're just a bit of a, you know, we've had it all. We really have. And I'm blessed, I think, that over that time, we've been able to find, you know, senior managers. So our senior management team now consists of 6, and those guys are, that is, you know, they fall over, cut their leg, and these core values come out. Do you know what I mean? That's how in tune they are to Focus Cloud and what we are about. Whereas that just wasn't
people
the case.
say, Gary Vee said it. I watched a video with him. I might even put a link to the video on this because I've got it somewhere. And he talks about people got to play for the logo. You've got to play for the logo. Like, no matter how big a biller or how big a performer you are, if you're not playing for the logo, if you're not Focus Cloud, then your time will come. So you might, you know, it might not be business. It might not make business sense to eject him today, but your time's going to come. Like, you're not going to be here forever. Like, and I completely subscribe to that mentality. Like, Hoxo is Hoxo, and people will work for Hoxo, and everyone's got their own agenda, but it has to be to play for the logo.
Yeah.
Because if they're not playing for the logo and they're purely playing for themselves, our tracks are going to change. We're going to go in 2 different directions. And so it's about, it sounds like you've got that locked down.
We implemented this, and we pushed it and we pushed it and we pushed it. And you're almost redesigning your whole sales force when you realize what you actually are.
Yeah.
Because just because you do doesn't mean your sales team does. So you have to say to your sales team, this is what we are. So if there's any tweaks that you need to make to concur to these core values and what it means to work here, then we need to make those changes. I'll give you an example, a raw example of this. We hired a guy, won't mention any names, of course, but we hired a guy. The guy did 5 placements, actually, in his first 3 months.
Wow.
So as any business, we have a probation period, right? And he did 5 placements in his first. So the guy was making money. He's making loads of money. Really, really nice guy as well. Very good. Very nice guy. Liked him a lot. And we decide that the hard-working part of Focus Cloud and some of the, let's say, the softer core values of what we are weren't prominent in him. Mm-hmm. So we decide to extend his probation period. And then I find out that a few days later, he's decided to go for some interviews, which is fine. Go for an interview if you like. You know, if you feel that you're going to get a better opportunity than working at Focus Cloud, by all means, be my guest. So I hear about it. So the following day, I called him into my office, and I'm actually a teddy bear. I know I look like a big ogre and stuff, but I'm actually really not. And I want everyone to be very open and honest with me. And I've always said that to every single employee at Focus. Just be open and honest. No lying here, right? And so he's come in, and I said, okay, so how did your meeting go? Because I didn't do the probation meeting, so it was extended and blah, blah, blah. So it's come to my attention that you've perhaps gone for some interviews. Is that correct? No, I haven't gone for any interviews. Okay. So if you know what it means to work at Focus and you're telling me something, I believe you. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, cool. Right. So we're going to work with you through the next 3 months to make sure that you can meet these goals, and we're going to get you where you need to be. Okay. So that was how we left it. And then I'm hearing the guy definitely went for.
How do you know this? Is it from internal people or external?
We got people in the business that are extremely loyal to the business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you've got someone who is blatantly not, if you're interviewing elsewhere, I wouldn't say that you're loyal to a business, right? But if you work for a business that doesn't condone lying, and
has he told Pete? Has he actually?
Well, he's actually he's had a conversation with someone that he believes is more loyal to him than to the brand.
Yeah.
Right. So that's obviously got back to me. So I called him back into my office. It's fine. It's not a problem. Human is part of our core values, right? So I said that it's come to my attention that you might have lied to me this morning. Have you been for any? It's not a problem. Honestly, it really isn't a problem. No, I haven't. Okay, I'll ask you again because I know for a fact he has, right? I'll ask you again. So he says no. I said, okay, third time now. You need to tell me if this is the case because it really isn't a problem as long as I know, right? I'll give you time off for the interview. That's what I said to him. I'll give you time off. It's not a problem. No, I haven't. Okay, you got one more chance. Have you gone for any interviews? And he said, no. It's okay, you're fired. Leave the office. Get out. Because if you can lie to me, you can lie to your candidates, your colleagues, and your clients. And that is not what we're about.
Yeah.
Whereas in year 2, that would never have happened.
And what happened? Did he go?
He went.
Yeah.
He came in 5 minutes later after I fired him, right? And he said, I'm really sorry, I did go for a thing. It's okay, but it's too late. It's too late now.
You've got no choice.
You know? So I think now what that did is I had to sit down with the whole company and say, look, this is why I had to do that. And everyone really bought into the fact that had to happen because it's all well and good saying this is what we stand for in the marketplace. But if you don't action it when someone doesn't concur to that, then your statements they're weak.
Yeah.
And what it means to work at Focus is not weak. It is what it is. It's this, and this. That's what it is. And if you don't like it, you can go somewhere else and work. It's not a problem.
No. So what goes through your head now? So you had the problems with financial challenges in the first year and all that whole risk of the whole piece imploding. You're not in that anymore.
No.
What did you bill last year? Like 3-4 million GP?
Yeah. Something along those lines.
Yeah, you're in a fucking very healthy position.
Yeah,
especially with 20 odd staff, that's very good, right? Across the industry, if I was to compare that,
a lot of those
solid.
A lot of those 20 odd are new as well. So if you take our year 3 figures, basically every year we've doubled in turnover and doubled in net profit and revenues. Yeah. So we've been really.
And are you still billing?
A little bit, yeah, not so much now. So year 1, 95% of it was me. Year 2, 80, maybe 85. Year 3, 65, and year 4 is going to be no more than 30. Yeah. If I've got my way.
Just banging a few big deals in there.
Just assist the guys. I do more training. I do more what I should be doing rather than banging the phones all the time.
So what's going on to help people?
What externals?
Yeah. So what you're talking about this, but it doesn't. I'm sure a lot of people are listening, going, well, "What does he really mean?" Like, are you giving are you giving charity? Are you giving?
Yeah,
we've a percentage of profit away. What are you doing?
We're not doing anything specific, as in like that is the amount. Whenever I see an opportunity to help someone that I believe that deserves that help, we do that. So we have. I'm not going to mention that one. I don't think it's relevant. We bought a family whose child had cancer, and they had to give up work. Couldn't afford Christmas presents for their kids. They had 4 kids.
Wow.
We bought them all really expensive presents. Well, not really expensive, but
yeah.
250 quid each. So we did that.
How did you find these people? Were they just family friends or something? Or?
This was a friend of my daughter at her school. So I just can't sit on a business doing so well and let people have that sort of experience. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
That was the first one. The second one was there was a local family whose partner died unexpectedly, again of cancer, which is really bad. The guy had to give up work for the last 3 years or so. It's quite public on Facebook in my local area, but I didn't know the people. I never met them in my life, but I, kind of see people liking. And, I'm really sorry to hear this and stuff like that. And then she died, and this guy had no money for the funeral. It kind of through the grapevine came back to me and a GoFundMe page. So I asked a few questions, kind of off the record, Is it real? Do you know what I mean? If someone really can't pay for the funeral, is it because that they've put themselves in that situation, or is it genuine that this has all happened and whatever? Or is there a family member that just doesn't want to put their hand in the pocket? Because that doesn't roll with me, and it all checked out.
Yeah.
So the GoFundMe page, $5,000. All of a sudden, it had an anonymous big chunk of change that met that goal. So I think it was $4,500.
Wow.
But it's anonymous, right? So I don't want anyone to go, oh my God, look at this company, look at this fantastic company, what they're doing. I don't want that. I don't need your gratitude or anything like that. I don't want you to say how great we are. I don't want that. I know.
You feel good about it.
I know.
Yeah.
And then one of my things, I haven't really told many people this, so that's why I'm a bit like
you're going to be telling about 4,000 people.
God. And then recently, part of the prayers that I used to make every morning when I started Focus, and it was tough. It was really hard. I had it in my heart I must help a homeless person, right? And I don't know why, but I'm a bit of a sucker for that, right? So if I walk past someone on the streets in London or whatever, I always go and buy them a bacon sandwich or whatever. I always do that, right? But I had it in my heart that I had to help a homeless person change their life for some unknown reason. But it had to be someone who wasn't addicted to drugs. It had to be someone who wasn't an alcoholic. It basically had to be someone that
wanted to get on the street,
was not there because of their own fault, which is really tough to find.
How do you find that? Not only find it, but how do you verify that shit?
Well, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So end of year two was when I started looking for that person. And I contacted a place in London and I told them the whole story. I said, look, I'm a churchgoer. I feel that I've got to do this, because when someone phones you out the blue, I guess, and says, I want to do this for someone I don't know, they go, yeah, all right. So you have to tell them the whole thing.
Weird. Yeah,
right?
People think it's a bit weird,
you have to tell them the whole story.
Yeah.
So I told them the whole story. They found some guy. We had a call. This was 2 years ago. We had a call. He convinced me on the call. I almost offered him a job. It was year two after all. No, I'm just joking. But we had the funds at year two for me to fulfill that promise, right? And basically, I asked them to really check this guy out and go deeper into what he was telling me. So he was telling me his mum's dead and this has happened and blah, blah, blah. So I'm really taken in by it. I'm going, okay, well, I would really like to help you. Anyway, they called me back a couple of days later. It's totally lied. Not the case. So the truth is, after that, I didn't lose hope with it. I always had it in the back of my mind, but I've not really thought about it for the last 2 years. And then about 3 weeks ago, I'm sitting there, and this is on top of a year three with significant nets, and then approaching a year four where I know where we're going to be at because I can see the forecast, right? And I guess I like nice things. I like nice things, but all of a sudden I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this don't sit right with me, because thank God I can. We're almost at that phase where perhaps we can, when you get financial freedom, right? So I'm not like, amazing financial freedom or anything like that, but I've got financial freedom. And whatever I wanted to do, I can pretty much do, right? And I'm in a really fortunate position. So I'm thinking, but I haven't really helped anyone yet. Even though we've done all this other stuff. And we've done the track days, which helped. That's fun and things like that. But
people in
really
distress
helped anyone yet, right? And it's this homeless thing comes into my head. This has literally just happened, right? So there I am again, praying up, saying, you need to help me with this, right? You need to help me to find this person, because I've been looking for 2 years and I can't find this person. And I need to know why I'm here. I need to know why this business exists. And this is part of it. But the promise that I made 4 years ago, I haven't fulfilled. But I can't find the person because most of them lied their ass off. They just do. And it's not their fault. They just do.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, drop my car off and I bump into this geezer. And he is someone that I haven't seen for 22 odd years.
You knew him?
I knew him, right? But I've not seen him for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
And he says, I said, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for ages. And I wasn't supposed to be there where we bumped into each other.
Right.
And so he tells me about his situation and stuff like that. And
Where were you?
I know
outside
something's
the
wrong.
garage or something?
I dropped my car off to get sound deadened.
Right.
So I'm a bit of a car,
Yeah, I know
right? So,
that, yeah.
so my car is like.
We should do the podcast in the car.
Yeah, it's wicked.
We should record it there.
Yeah. I'm fortunate to have just the perfect vehicle for me, I think, right? Don't worry, it's not a Ferrari or Lamborghini or anything like that. And I got the boot sound deadened, and I just wasn't supposed to be there. And I bumped into him, talked to him. I knew there was something wrong when he turned away from me when I asked him how he was. He told me he was homeless, and he was only homeless for like 3.5 weeks.
Did he look it though?
No, didn't look it.
See,
if you saw him,
yeah.
you would think,
all good.
not even scruffy really.
Yeah.
Hair's done and everything, right? So I get talking to him. I buy him a coffee, I buy him a bacon sandwich, and he's really been through it. Plus I know him, right? So I know him and I know what he's saying is true because I'd heard about it. And cut a long story short, once I'd actually realized what was going on, because I didn't click straight away. So, when for me anyway, when I've ever prayed for stuff, it doesn't necessarily happen at that moment in time. Otherwise you say, please give me £10 million.
Yeah.
And £10 million will come down. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that, right? So once I'd clicked that this was the score, this is what I've been asking for, right?
Yeah. I
action it. So this guy has been sleeping in a bus stop. He's been sleeping in fields. It's just horrible, mate. Horrible. Some of the stories, and like I said, I can't sit on this
No.
and just go, oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Right, you take care of yourself. There's a bacon sandwich. There's your coffee. See you later. Have a nice life. Can't do that. So I put him in a hotel, full Empress package, meals and stuff. And now, just Sunday, gone. He's moved into his house. And the business has paid for it.
What have you done? Rented him a flat?
Just like gave him the leg up that he needed.
What about work? Is he going to get a job now?
He's got a job coming. So he does building, and there was 2 caveats. So there's not many things better than making a placement for me, but this was the most amazing experience I've ever had. It's obviously costs some money, right? I don't care about the money, but it's delivering that message to that person and saying to them, I care, my company cares, right? So he had the whole story, right?
Yeah.
My company cares about your situation, but there is 2 caveats. Like, no, this is not real. This is not real. People don't do this every day. Well, actually, no, they don't. You're right. Well, what's the catch? There's 2 catches. There is 2 catches to this. Number 1, you never tell anyone, ever. So you never just don't tell anyone. I don't want someone coming to the business and saying, oh, in the lights and the newspapers and stuff like that. I don't want that. That's not why it's happening. I'm doing this because that's the right thing to do. And number 2, when you get yourself back on your feet, you do this for someone else. And I think that you can
pay it forward.
You can always spread the love. It's a bit.
But they call it pay it forward,
right,
don't they? So it's like you get help, you pay that on. You get help, you pay that on.
So that's the two.
And how has that changed you now and the business now that you've achieved that?
I think as soon as I did that, like I had this huge encounter, and I kind of know why we're here, and I know why I'm here now.
Right.
Whereas before, you're like, if you don't know what your purpose is,
you keep buying shit.
We're getting a bit deep here, right?
I like it.
So
yeah, but there's only again. I think most good quality recruiters have made money. Then they go into recruitment ownership, and you'd expect to make good money. Like the whole point of why we do this is to be entrepreneurs and financial freedom, right? It's not all about the money, but it's a very good byproduct. But there is only so many things you can buy. Like there's only so many times you can sound dead in your car before you go. No, but you do you know what I mean? Like it's that element of purpose. I think that we're all attached to.
Yeah.
And that sounds like you've found that. And
yeah, I wouldn't say that I've done those things yet, because for me, it doesn't like buy whatever you want, and I live in a nice house, but I don't live in a multi-million-pound mansion or anything like that.
You did send me a video of one you were going to see that was
but do you know when I think back to that, I was thinking I haven't even fulfilled my promise.
Yeah.
So that does not. How can I go and do that
without
someone's sleeping in a bus stop? It doesn't sit right with me for some reason. It just doesn't. I'm not saying we're going to help the world. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that we will help a lot of people with the success of Focus Cloud. And if we can change one person's life a year, then I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We do a good job for our clients and our candidates. We do that anyway, because that's what our purpose is. But our extra purpose, the reason why we're doing that job.
So how do your team feel about it all?
So my team, let's say my trusted generals, right? And we actually have a WhatsApp group, generals, know exactly what happened, and every single one of them are fully bought into it. Because it's like when you sit with someone who's known you for a while, right? And I'm like, don't forget, I don't suffer fools gladly. Do you know what I mean? So when something like this happens to you, and it's all like to do with, I guess it's spiritual, right? It's when you find your own purpose. You're not going to pull anything over my eyes, because I'm not from that background. Do you know what I mean? So something physical had to have happened. When you try and sit down with your generals who know you as Lloyd, the cool guy, and they've always known, like, my business or our business is based on these core values, which actually, come to think of it, it's just grown into Christian core values, really. I mean, they are. You think about it. Not that I even clicked when we were designing that.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with what the business means now. So you sit down with your guys and you say, this is what happened to me. And this is the guy that we helped. We helped this person as a business. I got a picture on my phone of this guy, right, where he's picking his keys up. I took a picture of it. And the smile on his face is a result of all of the hard work.
All these deals you're doing,
in the last 4 years.
It's great.
And these guys are part of it, because they're the ones making the money, right? So rather than just working for a business that's the run of the mill, and your CEO, or there's anything wrong with these guys, but a lot of these guys have got really, really expensive stuff, and they might well help a lot of people. But I want it to be a we thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The business is born. The business exists because we want to help these people in their lives every single year. And obviously we do the best for our candidates and clients, because that's what we do. But the reason why we do it is because
it's literally that whole why. I think, honestly, like, I'm banging on about it all the time now because I don't think enough recruitment companies start with why. They start with what? They start with, look, we've spun out of a recruitment company, we're going to start our own, we're going to make money, we're going to do what we've always done. And as the market gets more competitive, as millennials come into the market, people want to feel connected to why they're doing what they're doing, and they will work way harder. They'll put blood, sweat and tears in if they believe you and your vision, as opposed to it just being about the paycheck. So that leads nicely into what is this future now for you? What do you expect to happen in the next couple of years? How are you going to grow it, and what does the future look like for Focus and for you?
It depends very much. With the product set that we go with for the next 5 to 10 years. We're only focused on one product set, i.e. Workday.
Yeah.
So as long as that continues, I think that Workday is a slightly smaller market than the SAP market and the Oracle market. So there's only so much that we can grow. We have to grow with the market. I can't see past us, going down a different route for a different product. So I don't want to talk about that. But I think what we are going to do, now we know what we are, and what it means to work at Focus, and what are we actually looking for from people. We can now add to those existing staff members, and then we can train the existing ones to actually think about their careers and where they're going to progress through the business. I always get asked, when you're going to sell it, I think that it's not for sale, right? It's not for sale right now. I don't care how much money you got, we ain't for sale. But wouldn't it be really cool if, I've always said, like, I want to help people that help me get the business to where I need to get it to. How can I help those people? What about a management buyout? So I think as long as we continue to grow in the manner we are, I think that going down the same product set, which I don't see any way out of that product set right now. I think that in the next 2-3 years we can hit 50 people. I think in the next 7 to 8 years, perhaps 100 people. But I'm talking about 100 outstanding, highly trained killers. No. No, but
I know what you mean.
100 people who are really good, really ethical people, really loyal people, want the best for the brand, want the best for your customers, all the things, the perfect employee. I think we can hit 100 of those. And then you've got, a management team and a layer underneath those that I can turn around and say, maybe you guys can take this further than I can, because there's only so far I can take it by myself. And I'm getting a lot of help from my management team right now, taking it to the next step, which is great. But I want to see these guys do really well as well. So I think that unless something amazing, they say money talks, right? But actually it doesn't talk to me. So unless something really unexpected happens, let's say that, I think that what I would like to do is build proper business people, layer underneath for those guys eventually to take the business far larger and far more successful than I can ever take it. And that means, great things for their families, great things for them. Everything that I promised them.
What the hell would you do though? You would lose the plot not being in. Mate, you'd still be there. You'd be like some chairman NED who sits in the corner, still pick up the phone.
I don't know. There's only so much Top Gear you can watch, right?
Mate, I think you would still bill. I think you go back to billing.
That I would always need to retain a percentage of that, because you know what? That business, when how do you irritate me, right? You see a little bit of it on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, right? How do you irritate me?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that, actually.
You attack my family or you attack my business. That's how you irritate me.
But it's a good point. We've not got that much longer, but that was something that happened recently. Someone slagged you guys off on Glassdoor, and you were pretty open about being pissed off, right? What happened?
Well, I think, first of all, no one really understands what it takes to build a business, right? Yeah. So people look in, and you've got all these really successful businesses that you work with, right? And I listen to these fantastic podcasts that you do, but no one realizes what those people went through to get where they are.
Yeah, it's only words.
They just see the James the Arrow, all the other guys, I know. And they see the fantastic success they have, but actually you didn't see them when they was praying to God, crying on the toilet. You didn't see that. So I think to myself, how dare you run down my business, especially if you're not even real.
That's so did that person who actually worked for you?
Well, we found out. So the actual post that was put on Glassdoor, it looked fake. We pinpointed it to a location of someone who used to work at the business, but in that whatever they said, they said you haven't even got 6 people in your business, which you've been at the business. They've been at the business 3 years in the post. So if you've been at the business 3 years, there's only 2 people that have been in the business 3 years, and it's neither one of those. One of them is a shareholder. Yeah, you wouldn't be the other guy because he put the post on, as a response. So it was just a load of crap. It really was. And for me, if it's something that you've got to say about any business, not only Focus, you should be man or woman enough to go to that person and say, this is how I think you can improve your business, or this was my experience of working for your business, or put your name on it. So they can reach out to you and say, okay, was that really your experience? Because some things happen in business that you don't know, right? So we sometimes we roll along, we don't actually see things that happen, right? So we rely on our senior managers and the managers below, but sometimes things get missed. We're not perfect. But when you write something like that, that's totally fake. It wasn't even true. No. But it's on social media, so everyone can see it. And when we've got people that we want to hire as business, they look on our Glassdoor and go, "Ooh, that sounds like a dodgy business," and it's not even true. No. And it's anonymous. That just irritates me because you're not even putting your name, and you're not even a person because you have not been there 3 years. So, yeah, there's two things. You family and my business. And you could see a different side.
Yeah, definitely.
You could see a different side. But I'm a really placid guy.
But in the future, though, like we said, I can't imagine you stepping back and not being involved. Like, you're going to be somehow involved, even if the management buyout happens.
Yeah, like a chairman or a non-exec.
Probably still billing.
Probably, yeah.
I imagine you'll be like 70 on the phone with a slick suit. I'll have like 25-30%
shares. I'll be the... Well, I won't be the guy with the grey hair, will I? But,
maybe just grow a bit around the sides. Like one of them emojis.
Yeah, maybe here. No, I think I always want to be, it's my baby, right? So I'm never going to fully let it go. And I always want to have, I want to always say that we started that. So wherever Focus Cloud ends up in 10 years' time, and whoever is the CEO and the management team at the time, we started that together. And that could be a business that's got, it could be 500 people if we're lucky. Could be 1,000, who knows? It could be part of a bigger group at that particular time. But do you know what? No one can take away those prayers on the toilet because no one saw that. So no one can ever take that away from me. So I always want to have that. And
do you know what? That's why I got that tattooed on my wrist. People say, "Oh, you got your company tattooed on your wrist." I was like, "Yeah, because you can never take that off me."
Never take
that
it
was
away.
My baby that I came up with, that I've launched. That even if it fucking fails, it's not like a marriage that you can go, "Oh, fucking hell, I'm going to marry again."
Get divorced, sign it over.
Yeah, this is even if I started a second company, third company, whatever. That is never going to be. Nothing can change, and I completely empathise with that one. I feel the same about I think one day I would step away, and I think it'd be the right thing to do. I think someone would come in and be better than me. I'd hope they are. That's the plan. But there's so much to achieve. I actually love it like you do. I think you're the same as me. Like I love coming to work. Like I fucking love it. I wake up every day excited about it. So if I sold everything and walked away from that, what the fuck am I going to do then? Like I'm going to have to find something I love. I think I would end up being an investor, a mentor.
Yeah,
I'd have to be involved in other businesses because otherwise I wouldn't want to play golf all day. It's not me.
Yeah, you get bored.
Yeah,
you get bored and fat when you.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas do you know what I mean? I'm active and I'm fit, which is great.
I think similar. Like I always want to have that sharing focus, but who knows, right? Someone may come along and it might be the right time for the business to elevate to that next stage, which I can't do. And it might just be that time when I go, that's the right thing to do with the management team that we've got in place. They are going to be looked after. Every single person who works for Focus Cloud right now has to be looked after. That's it.
That's your mate.
So anyone comes in and says, we're going to do this and we're going to scrape it all out. I don't care how much money you got. Or the management team might buy it out, whatever. It just needs to continue and it needs to grow. But mentorship, I quite like that. I quite like, certainly there's not many things I haven't been through in business. And I've had a lot of people reach out as a result of our part one.
Really?
Say, can you give me some advice? And it's great. I'll do that all day long for free because I like it. Right?
So anyone again listening, happy to chat.
Anyone listening who wants to talk about anything, pose me any questions or whatever, or is going through a startup phase and just wants to sound off, you know what? Because there's times when you just want to shout at someone and you just want to pull your hair out, like I did. Wow,
I hope you didn't pull everyone out. That would be painful.
Individually. No, you just want to pull your hair out. No one sees that.
No.
And if you don't have that sounding board, do you know what? You need the sounding board and you need someone who's actually been there.
Yeah.
Having someone who's never had a recruitment company, dealing with the crap that you have to put up with, the people that you hire that try and screw you over, the people this, that, the other, everything that everyone that you've had on this show has been through.
Yeah.
Right? You need someone who's been there that can say, well, Lloyd says to me, well, you wanted this.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sitting there going, oh my God, how are these people doing this to me? What have I done to these people? And he's like, this is what happens in business. This is what happens when you have a recruitment company.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, I should have stayed at last place. Sometimes you're like, should have just.
So that leads me into the final question then. So what advice have you got? I don't think we ever got round to that in part one. And if we did, we're doing it again. But like I'm always chatting to new startups and people that are about to start. What advice have you got for anyone that it'd be one thing you would, if you had to give one piece of advice to every listener starting a recruitment company today, what would it be?
I think you asked me that before, and I said, "Come and talk to me, and I'll fund it if you're good." I seem to remember that.
Yeah, maybe, but that's probably not the bit of advice that they. I'm thinking more business. Like what genuinely would you say they have to think about? Or
I think the one thing, right? So you got to get a sounding board because you're going to go through shit,
right?
And it's going to be really hard. And if you don't have that person who's been through it, you're going to go nuts and you're going to give up. I love recruitment. I really do. Genuinely do. I've always said, right, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. In fact, you
do the pro bono deals.
We do the pro bonos every quarter.
Yeah.
So we give away a pro bono candidate just to go out to market and go, we said that we'd do it for free. Well, here we go. We do it for free. So I think you need to love it, because when it gets hard, which it will, if you don't love it, you're going to give up. And you need that sounding board who says, this is okay. Don't worry about it. Because if you think this is bad, wait for 3 months. No. Wait for 3 months' time.
Yeah, I know that.
And then in 3 months' time, you've got another problem. And you need that person who's gone, okay, well, when I did it, I had this problem and this is what I did. So you're not like, you don't feel isolated. You can't feel isolated. You've got to know that other people have been through this stuff before, whereas you can sometimes sit there and think, why is this happening to me? You know, why is this happening to me? And it's not. It's happening to you, but it's happening to you because you've started a business.
Yeah. Well, look, Lloyd, I've enjoyed part 2. I feel like it's we've relaxed a bit.
Part 3.
Well, you know what? Well, I might put that out to the listeners. I might put a poll after this one and say who wants to hear Lloyd again. Yeah. But look, if we are going to do it, then let's 12 months time or whatever. Let's hopefully the podcast is going strong, which I'm sure it will be. Yeah. And I'm sure everyone would agree that you got a very unique story, mate. You got a very, very unique story, very impressive business, and I'm backing you. I've always backed you from the day I met you, but I'm sure the listeners will, and we'll keep an eye on it. All right. But look, guys, another episode of The Rag. Hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different this week, but it's all about real stories. And 2 things I always ask. First one is, when you're on LinkedIn and you're listening to these episodes, please share your comments, your opinions, tag us in those posts, and get as many recruiters and recruitment owners to listen to these podcasts, because the more we share ideas, collaboration, stories, the more we'll grow and the industry will survive and thrive. And finally, if you're on the iTunes store, give us a rating and let us know your thoughts, because we listen to every single comment, every email, every message, and we feed that into every episode. So more and more is welcome. I'll be back again next Wednesday with another episode with another high-profile recruitment owner and listening to their story of growth. Tune in then. I'll see you in a bit.